Hello, everyone. My name is Ken Tapp. I am the CEO of Decentral Life, and today is September 30th, the last day of the third quarter for our company. And I'm going to do a shareholder update that covers our third quarter progress and gives you a glimpse into what we plan on accomplishing in the fourth quarter of this year. Now, before I get started, for those of you who are new to our company as retail investors or shareholders, institutional investors, and new analysts that may be covering our company, Decentral Life is a technology business incubator. We focus on blockchain and AI technology. Our goal is to take the companies that participate in our incubator program and help them reach a liquidity event like an IPO or even a security token offering or an acquisition. In doing so, we have a 15% stake in each of these companies, which ends up on our balance sheet. And we have an ongoing licensing agreement with each company to receive 5% of their revenues. So, with that being said, let's move right into our safe harbor and disclaimer slide. I will talk about, as usual, things that we think will happen here in the near future or even further down the road in the future. Some of those things either get pushed back or pulled forward, and the timing can adjust. In fact, sometimes things change altogether. And so just note that the things I talk about that have not yet happened could be adjusted along the way. I am going to, however, on this update, primarily focus on the things that we have accomplished. So, with that being said, let's start with today and work our way backwards throughout the rest of the Q3. Now, today we had filed a 1-A-W, which is the withdrawal of our 1A filing that was done right at about 5 months ago. That 1A filing was done so that we could raise capital by registering an additional 2 billion shares, increasing potentially our existing share count, which is right at about 7.6 billion shares. It has been sitting there for about a year and a half. And the idea was that we would be able to use these 2 billion shares to raise capital leading up to an uplisting to a major exchange like NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. So I will also cover our uplisting progress today and the sales and balance sheet growth for Q3. And then I'll finish up and give you a snapshot of what I believe we will accomplish in Q4. So with that 1A filing today, that means that there will not be this increased in issued shares of 2 billion. The share count will remain as it has for the last year and a half at 7.6 billion, leading up to the uplisting to a major exchange. That should give our shareholders a sigh of relief that there will not be any dilution to our existing common stock leading up to that uplisting. That should hopefully, in my mind, give an increase in value to our existing share count at about 26% for any shareholders that have baked in that additional 2 billion shares that are now no longer going to be issued. Let's cover the uplisting because I know everyone is anxious to get news and updates about how that is progressing. There are a few things related to that we have been working diligently on over the last quarter. One of those is the name change. And I believe any day now, FINRA, along with the assistance of our transfer agency and securities team, will have the name changed at the OTC markets, and that will then cascade into what you see when you log into your own trading account, be it an E-Trade account or Scottrader or the sort. Now, in addition to that uplisting, we need to have at least one liquidity event. We have been talking about our MJ Link acquisition that has been worked on over the summer, as well as our Hunt Post acquisition by a SPAC, in which Hunt Post will be going public through that SPAC. And so let's first talk about MJ Link. This week, we finalized our efforts over the last 6 weeks or so to spin off two divisions of that company. That's the Weed Life division and the Hemp Talk division. I won't get into the details on what those divisions do on this update, but what that means for any of our Decentral Life shareholders is now you have two companies, or instead of just one with MJ Link, that are now inside of the TBI program, of which, don't forget, the social Decentral Life and Social Life Network division of Decentral Life does have that 15% stake now in both of those companies. So two liquidity events instead of one. MJ Link is in the process of being acquired. This spin out needed to take place first so that we could move forward with that. And now Weed Life is in the process of being acquired on its own. Hunt Post, of course, has been working towards going public through its own, I should say, through a SPAC and being acquired by a SPAC, along with the roll up of multiple trade shows in the hunting, fishing, camping, RV, outdoor space. And that is still moving forward. And I'm very happy with their progress. Now, let's move right into what were we able to accomplish with some of the other companies this last quarter. We were able to increase our sales through our SaaS licensing program. In fact, this last quarter is the best quarter the company has ever had in the last 10 years of being in existence. In fact, we did about $500,000 worth of revenue, which I'm very happy to announce as we go into Q4. That $500,000 or more, a little bit more, ended up being almost as much as all of the revenue that we have done over the last few years here. Grand total. So actually, let me rephrase that. It has added to our total annual revenue, which will then end up, I believe, to be more than, by the end of Q4, more than all of the revenue we have done in the last 4 years. That's a big difference. But the fact is that we've just had our greatest revenue quarter to date in the existence of the company. And the additional thing we were able to accomplish in Q3 is we were able to catch up on all of our past due ARs and collect those. So we are now have collected all ARs that were outstanding leading up through the end of Q2 of this year. And that has put roughly about $350,000, maybe a little bit more, of cash on our books as of today's date. I think many of you who are concerned when you look at our quarterly filings that we have usually teetering around $0 in our account, but significant ARs should now be happy that not only have we increased our revenues significantly in Q3, but we caught up on our ARs and we are now sitting on enough cash to be in a much better position. All right, now let's get into what I believe is going to happen here in the fourth quarter. Decentral Life will begin its roadshow in preparation for this uplisting, and along with the presenting at multiple microcap events, this will give us additional exposure to analysts and high net worth retail investors that typically go, as well as institutional investors that typically go to those microcap events. We will, of course, continue our efforts supporting Hunt Post and MJ Link and now Weed Life through their liquidity events in Q4 and prepare for 2023's growth with our TBI program. If you remember from our last update when we talked a bit about the expansion of the NetCube Accelerator program, that is our sister company, it is looking to increase from about 4 to 6 companies per year that go through that program to 40 to 60 companies per year in 2023. And we are expecting to add quite a few new companies to the Tech Business Incubator program at Decentral Life. And we are now, have been preparing for that, but we will ramp up that preparation in Q4. In part, that includes additional office space. We are moving our headquarters to our office in Scottsdale and looking to expand office space in the Tempe, Arizona area, so that we can help support some of the founders and startup founders, tech founders in that area for certainly blockchain and AI related companies. Now, each of our companies has been expanding over the year, and so we will continue to help support some of the new offices as well. There is an office now across from Facebook and Instagram's headquarters in Menlo Park, California. We were just out there, Todd Markey and myself, a few weeks ago. In fact, we'll be there in another couple of weeks. And so a lot of energy out there in that area. We have a new office in the Greenwood Village area in Denver with a few companies there that are growing. And then, of course, we've got a new office in Las Vegas that is supporting in part the new acquisition of MJ Link. So a lot of growth, not just physically, but through each one of these companies. And I wanted to keep this update short because I want everyone to tune in to some of the updates that will be done and presentations that will be done live. And we'll have some recorded ones as well here in the next week and a half or so. In Orlando, Florida, on the 11th of December and the 11th of October, and the 11th and the 12th of October, the next Deck Block investor conference will take place, in which we will be there, and many of the TBI companies will be there presenting to roughly 100 or so retail and institutional investors on each of those days. So that those video presentations will be uploaded to our Decentral Life YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for those. And in the meantime, have a great week, a great start to your October. Keep an eye out for additional filings that will be happening here in the next few weeks, including the next 8K that will announce our next shareholder update. We are also, I'll put this out there, we're also working feverishly on trying to get our our 10Q filed early this year instead of the middle of November. My hope is that will be done before the third or fourth week of October. So we'll keep you posted on that as well. As soon as that filing is done, we will do a shareholder update that covers that filing and talks about, of course, at that point, the last couple of months of progress in Q4 and what the beginning of Q1 for 2023 is shaping up to look like. So without keeping you too much longer, I appreciate your time. We appreciate you being shareholders. Thank you for following us, and we will talk to you soon.